Hey everybody, welcome to the Dealer's Book Series. I'm Christina, Kristina, Deluise. Today we're talking about Eve Dallas, J.D. Robb or Nora Roberts, Reunion and Death, Reunion and Death, Purity and Death, Portrait and Death. Now, Eve is a lieutenant in the New York City Police and Security Department. That is her total 100% identity in her brain. She doesn't see herself as Rourke's wife or Rourke's cop or anything else. She considers herself a cop. Once she steps out of Rourke's house, that's it, she's a cop. And she's slowly getting used to living in Rourke's house, but it's taking little baby steps. And Eve is still uncomfortable in social situations, although we don't have that issue in these. But so there are some new information in these. So this Reunion and Death, we know that Eve had a very troubled childhood. She was raised in foster home. She never had birthdays, never had parties, never was included in Christmas, any celebrations at all. She was pretty much on her own. She did foster families, and situations there wasn't good. And Reunion and Death brings up some of those memories, and also takes her back for the first time. There's going to be a few more times, and we're going to deal with the dreams and the situations in the dreams in additional books. But we're going to start with Reunion facing down some demons. Okay, so where was I? Oh, so like I had explained in previous videos, Rourke has been slowly, gradually improving Eve's wardrobe, because she didn't care how she dressed. All that mattered was the badge. The criminal wasn't going to care what she wore that day. In her mind, who cares what I look like? I'm a cop. That's it. That was it. So she'd been away. She's taking a little vacation. She comes back. First morning, getting dressed for work. Rourke goes, "What is about an armed woman that arouses me?" She shot him a look, reached in the closet for a light jacket. "Cut it out. I'm not going to be late my first day back because you've got some residual horniness." Oh, yes, he thought, rising. She was back. Darling Eve. He managed barely not to wince. "Not that jacket." "What?" She paused in the act of shoving her arm into a sleeve. "It's summer weight. It covers my weapon." "It's wrong with those trousers." He stepped to her closet, reached in, and plucked out another jacket of the same weight and material as the khaki trousers. "This one is correct one." "I'm not planning on doing a video shoot," but she changed it because it was easier than arguing. "Here." Another dip in to her closet, he came out with a pair of half boots in rich chestnut brown leather. "Where'd those come from?" "The fairy closet." The fairy closet. Closet fairy, I'm sorry. Now, our little baby True Heart. So she gets to work. The job had been her home, her life, her single death-finding purpose before Rourke. Now, even with him, or maybe because she had him, it remained an essential part of who and what she was. Once she'd been a victim, helpless, used, and broken. Now she was a warrior. She swung into the detective's bullpen, ready to fight whatever battle lay ahead. Detective Baxter glanced up from his work, let out a low whistle. Whoa, Dallas, hubba, hubba. What? Baffled, she looked over her shoulder, then realized Baxter's leering grin was for her. You're a sick man, Baxter. It's reassuring to note some things don't change. You're the one that's all slicked up. He pushed himself up, skirted around desk. Nice, he added, rubbing her lapel between his thumb and finger. You're a friggin' fashion plate, Dallas. Put the rest of us to shame. It's a jacket! She muttered, mortified. Cut it out! Got yourself tan, too. Would be a full body job? She bared her teeth in a fierce smile. Do I have to kick your ass? All right, so it goes on a little bit. Oh, I missed that part. Okay. So she also gives Peabody her first case to work alone. Big, huge deal. Peabody goes over the moon. She's so excited. Her first case. And then we have surprise visitors. I don't know if I picked that page out or not. Peabody's parents show up. And her mother has ways, and her father has ways too. So she lets Peabody go spend time with her folks while working on the case. So she's home at night, and she comes into Rook and she goes, so they painted my office and stole my candy again. Eve is forever battling a secret candy thief. Now, there has been massive speculation among the fans. It's always a contention of who the candy thief is, right? And I've always ventured jokingly, I have no knowledge, I have nothing, that it's Nora, that she wrote herself into the story, and she's the candy thief. But, you know, I know, it's just my little itty bitty opinion. So they painted my office and stole my candy again. At home in the spacious living area with its glossy antiques and gleaming glass, Eve paced the priceless oriental carpet. Rook had only just arrived home, so she had no one to bitch to for the past hour. As far as she was concerned, a bitching partner was one of the top perks of marriage. And Peabody finished up all the paperwork while I was gone, which meant I didn't have anything to do. She should be ashamed. Imagine your aide doing paperwork behind your back. Oh, no. So, later on, Peabody's parents come for dinner. And, but then even Peabody get called on a case, so they have to leave. So Rock spends some time with Peabody's parents. You're stalling, and you never stall. She grabbed his wrist before he could finish the job of distracting her. You did something. What did you do? Realization struck, and her jaw dropped nearly to her toes. Oh my God. I don't know how it happened. Precisely. I can't say how it came to be that Peabody's parents are even now tucked away in a guest room on the 3rd floor in the East Wing. He invited them to stay. They talked. Oh, he wrote 2 conversations. Let's see, what's the other one? I love these books. So she's hanging out with Feeney. Like old, oh, they have to go in the transport. Like old times, Feeney said after they managed to muscle their way on and snag two of the seats designed for the narrow asses of 12-year-old anorexics. Guess it's been a while since you used a public shuttle. I thought I missed it, she said, did her best to pull her face back from the parade of crotches and butts that pressed in to make the forced shuttle down the crammed aisle. How wrong can you get? Not so bad. Be there in a half hour if they didn't screw up. He jiggled the sugared almonds in his pocket. We'd have saved time off with one of Rourke transports. See, again, she will not take anything from Rourke. It's a huge contention in the series. And at one point, we haven't gotten that point yet, but we get to the point where Eve draws her own salary. And so she eats and lives in Rourke's house, but I don't know what she does with her money because she's not paying bills anymore. I mean, she had the excuse when she was in the apartment. So I don't know what I never figured that one out yet. But they will once, and I'll probably get to it. She was leaving the house with no money in her pocket, and Rourke's like, "Here, take 50, have something in your pocket." Like in the olden days, when you had to have a couple quarters in your pocket, so if you got in trouble, you could use a payphone. You remember those suckers? Payphones. And so it's a big contention. It does provide some amusement in the series, in the future books. Our first, all right, spoiler. Our first small relief doesn't come till Promises, but we will get there. So they go on like I said, and Eve does this a couple times. She'll take Peabody on a couple of those shuttles too. And Rourke's like, I own, use. She's like, no, I don't want to use your stuff. I'm a cop. I use cop stuff. That's her motto. That's what she believes. She believes it to a core. I don't know why I picked this. Dallas, hold on a minute. I don't have time for chatter, Peabody. If I'm going to clean up things so I can take this travel time, I've got to move. She won't get to him. She won't even get close. She touched Eve's arm, then took hold of it to stop Eve's forward progress. Maybe if it's just one of you, she could get lucky and do some damage. But she's going up against both of you. There's no way, just no way in the universe. So Eve has to go do something with her past, a little small, briefer past. And we got to get past that. We get some more reenactment with Rourke's secretary, Caro, in this book too. She's becoming more and more of a reoccurring character. She'll show up more and more as the books go on. So, reunion is, I keep forgetting. I'm so involved with the characters. I keep forgetting to say that there's a murder solved in each one of these books. There's a murder mystery solved in each book, but I'm so involved with the characters. I'm in it for the characters. The J.D. ROBB book comes out, I buy. I don't care what it's about. I just buy it because I want to know what's on with the characters. I love this series so much. Do you have series like that? Do you have authors like that where you want that book day one it comes out because you like the author and you're invested in that series that much? And please take the time to like and subscribe. It's really important. So, purity and death. All right. Somebody is using computers to kill people. Well, if you can get a virus in the air, why can't you get a virus from the computer? But not the computer. Well, the computer does fry too, but it affects your brain or something like that. All right, and Trueheart goes through a rough time in this book. The whole police department goes through a little bit of a rough time in this book. McNabb goes through a rough time in this book. Jamie Lindstrom, one of our favorite characters, comes back in this book. I picked a couple pages for this one. Let's see what I picked out. Eve stepped on into the glide. I don't need you for this, Peabody. Sir, I'm your faithful aide. I am obliged to stay close to your side. If you think you're coming up to EDD with me so you can play grab ass with McNabb, you're very much mistaken, faithful aide. That thought never crossed my mind. Is that so? Why are your pants on fire? Peabody grinned. They're not, because I'm not lying. I was thinking of pat ass, not grab ass. He is so skinny, it's kind of tough to grab a good handful. She hopped up beside Eve, and since she thought she saw her lieutenant's mouth twitch in what might have been a smile rather than the usual muscle tick during such conversations, she pushed. And I can get a first hand on the status of Cogburn's unit, right that area of the report for you as your faithful aide, faithful hard-working aide. That's a good bribe, Peabody. You make me proud. I love that. Let's see. Why did I pick this out? Oh, and Rourke slowly starts to fill her auto chef at work. I don't know why he just didn't do it from the start. It's like every so many books a new item shows up and the auto chef gets better and bigger, and it becomes a pet peeve with the fans too. And Eve's got it there, but she never bothers to look at the menu. She never bothers to look to see what's in it. She goes for the coffee, period, end. There's other stuff in it. Do you remember those old vending machines in the olden days when you went into your office cafeteria and they had this like big refrigerated unit and it had the sliding doors and you put money in, you could get a sandwich or a can of soup or cereal or something, and then you could use the microwave to make that kind of thing. That's my brain. But this is the auto chef in these books is much more sophisticated. Although Summerset does all the cooking, so he pre-makes all these meals and he puts them in the auto chef, and then they just tell the auto chef what they want. And have you noticed they have covered dishes for breakfast so they can keep the cat from? Do you have covered dishes in your house? Do you have those things to cover? I'm not fancy. I got books. That's about it. So they call in some help with this virus. Genius has no aid, so Jamie Lindstrom as he strutted into her office on a pair of dilapidated air boots. Why aren't you in school? I do the home thing mostly on work programs. You get to do hands-on-the-job crap as long as it's with business with contracts through the school and shit. Eve turned to Rourke. One of yours? Rourke hired Jamie and never told Eve. He starts off an apprentice. Roarke is severely trying to lure Jamie to his side of town, and Jamie wants to be a cop. So it's a continual. We haven't had a resolution yet. It's still ongoing. But Jamie's he's such a cute character. He really is. He lightens the load. And a big moment. And looking hard. You know anything about the DS Dwyer out of the 16th? Nothing I didn't read in his file when he popped. Want me to ask around? Yeah, quietly. She hesitated. Does it bother you? Looking at another badge, Baxter puffed out his lean cheeks. Yeah, some. It's supposed to bother us. Otherwise, we'd all be IAB, wouldn't we? There you go. You can bend the line. You can even move it a little sometimes, but you can't break it. Break it, and you're not us anymore. You're them. Dwyer broke it, Baxter. That's my gut. She pushed off the desk, walked around the room. You've used Trueheart a few times, right? A couple. Good kid, fresh as a daisy, yet eager. If I brought him in on this, would you use him? I've got no problem dumping some. He sat back, cleared his throat. You're asking me to train him? No, just, okay, yes, sorta. You're second grade, so you qualify, and he could use somebody to work him, rub some of the dew off him without dulling the shine. Interested? And that's how Baxter and Trueheart become partners. And one more for this. I don't remember. But so that's Purity, and there's a couple of cute little surprises in this, and they find out some secrets about some higher ups, and the whodunit. Most of the time, you're pointed that direction, and at the very last minute, Nora pulls the rug out from under your eyes and goes, "Nah, gotcha." And I don't know. I must be subliminal messages or something. I read this book, I get a headache because everybody in this book gets a headache and they die that way. But I love it. I love this series. Okay, now. All right. Portrait in Death. We have a lot to deal with in this. Miss D'Amato comes back, makes a Louise. We see her again, which is nice. So in the beginning, and I just gotta, because it just chuckles me. Mine. She forked up pancakes and stared back at the cat. Roarke may be an easy mark, pal, but I'm not. Probably already been fed too, she added as she popped her feet on the table and continued to plow through her breakfast. Bet you were down in the kitchen at dawn sidling around Summerset too. Summerset has a little bit of an accent and he falls down the stairs. Then she goes off to her case, and Nadine is trying to help her. And this is not for me in this position, sorry. So, and so she gets in a little bit of a conflict with Nadine. And then she goes to see Morris, and it's cute. He asks one of those inevitable questions. Eve's like, what can you tell me? And he goes, I can tell you that if you drop a piece of bread, it always lands with the jelly side down. Yeah, you drop something, it always drops upside down. It never drops straight down. You could drop a bowl of cereal, it'll always end up upside down, and it never works that way. Oh, one of our other little things that happens. Don't complain that it happens every so many books because it's something we enjoy. Okay. Mildly refreshed by a spin in the detox tube at the morgue, Eve pulled up at the curb in front of Professor Browning's high-dollar building. I thought teachers got paid worse than cops, she commented. I can do a standard run on her financials. Eve stepped out of the car, then cocked her head and hip as the doorman rushed over. I'm afraid you can't leave that here. This is an official vehicle, and this is an official badge, and that vehicle stays there. Goes, there's a parking garage. No, this stays here. I'm sorry. We get some really good chuckles out of that one. Where are we going next? We're going to college. Icy. A lot of hot guys are totally hot. She hunched her shoulders when Eve sent her a bland stare. Just because McNabb and I are in a committed, mature relationship, I don't want to hear about your committed, mature anything with McNabb. It gives me the creeps. Just because, Peabody continued, and undaunted as they crossed the lobby, doesn't mean I can't look. Don't you hear that a lot? Just because I'm this doesn't stop me from looking. Alright. Peabody, we're in the field. I was just about to have this sandwich. She held up a wrapped lump. Then you should be thrilled to be able to demonstrate those multitasking skills. Eat and roll. This is bad for the digestion, Peabody replied, but she stuffed her sandwich in her bag and grabbed her tube of orangeade. I'm sorry. So, there's a lot of good stuff in this book. There's also a huge, massive reveal. Huge, very important reveal. Roarke goes to the, I forget the name of it is. Oh, I don't think Eve is found out yet. He goes to this women's shelter he's building, and he meets one of the new therapists, and she's from Ireland, and she makes a huge reveal. And Roarke leaves, and he goes home, and he locks himself in his office, and he investigates, and he shuts Eve out. So Somerset is hurt, and Somerset is dealing with this overbearing housekeeper, and Roarke's locked himself in his office, and Eve's like, what? Did I do something wrong? Is the marriage over? Her head goes in so many different directions. It's just, it's hard. It's a hard book, but you know, he makes a good point. Roarke has helped her deal with so much stuff in her past, her childhood, her dreams, the stuff in Reunion, and the stuff in Dallas, and he will continue to help her. And it is unfair that he decides that it's his business and not hers when they're married. And it takes a while. Eve suffers and goes through some stuff while he's going through his stuff. And then she finally confronts him and goes, is it me? Is our marriage over? Do you want to dump me? Do you want a divorce? What's going on? She has all this stuff in her head. And he finally confesses what happened. And she's like, you've been helping me with this stuff. How come I can't help you with that stuff? And it comes back to bite her in the ass because a couple books down the road, she'll have a thing, and he'll like, and she's like, but that was your family, and it becomes a small contingent of discussion between them because of this is a big, huge reveal, and it leads to a huge, bigger reveal, and a part of Eve is a little jealous of the results of this reveal, and we will later on take quite a few books. I think it's New York to Dallas. It's the only death book that doesn't have death in the title, and that is a huge book to get through. But we got to get there first. We still got quite a few. We got 20 or so more books to go through yet. But this is a huge, big reveal of Roarke and his situation. It's huge, and at least it turns out to be really sort of good news. And Roarke's got to deal with it. He's learned something that he did not know was true, and he regrets because he thought it was this situation. He never bothered to investigate it. He investigates it here, and he just finds out this was not true. It's really this. And she works with him to get through it, and it's going to progress in the next couple books. But we will see these characters again. I love the feisty portrait guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it was he'll be back to visit. But we've got Jamie in Purity, and Luis D'Amato and Caro coming back. So please, I'm trying to do the series in order, but Eve Dallas, it's a really good character. Nadine, Dr. Mira, Whitney, Tibble, Baxter, Feeney, Trueheart, and additional members of her squad will make appearances as the series goes on. Her squad gets, well, it's always been big, but we'll learn who the people are in her squad as the series goes on. Her situation with Nadine will grow. Her situation with Mavis will grow. Oh, I haven't mentioned Mavis is with child. It was in the last seduction, I think. But it will take about 10 or 15 books before Promises. No, not Promises. The one after Promises, I think. But we got to work through these first. And Portrait has a huge, massive reveal. I guess I should. So it's Reunion, Purity, and Portrait. That's the reading order. But you really need to start with Naked. And I've done all the videos previously, starting with Naked. And in each one of the picks, I didn't pick it out because I've picked it out a few more previous times. But there'll be at least one button reference in each of these books too. And I mentioned the button in Naked preview. And so that's significant. And I had fun with the Closet Fairy. And we'll have fun with the Closet Fairy again. And the spoiler magic coats down the line too. Those are going to be huge. But we've got to get through we're going to get through some good times. The Holiday and Death, I love the Christmas parties. I did that already. That was a previous book. But please take the time to like and subscribe to the channel. It's really important. I don't know why people don't do that. I've seen podcasters have 10, 20,000 views and hours and 2 likes. It takes a half a second just to click that little button. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. It makes me feel good. to know someone liked my video. I'm not one of those professional people that can point and do all this kind of stuff and stuff shows up. I'm an amateur. I just sit here and talk about the books. I can't do anything fancy. So please take the time to like and subscribe and enjoy Nora Roberts, JD Robb, Eve Dallas, learning about her progression in her life. Please take the time. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And have a good day. And please like and subscribe. Thank you.